Tonight I'm coming to you with something really cool for my Cybertruck, something I put on my Cybertruck about a month or two ago, actually I think closer to 2 months ago, and I've really been enjoying it. And of course, as you can see from behind me, I'm talking about the light bar on my Cybertruck. Now, Tesla did initially announce the Cybertruck, and we had this really awesome blade looking light bar that went on top of the windshield. And since then, we have production out now, and we know what that light bar actually looks like. It fix itself to the windshield, and it uses the same kind of adhesive that the windshield itself uses to attach to the car. Now, the problem is twofold. First, you can't get them. Cyberbeast customers are still waiting for their light bars to be sent to them just for their cars that they've already paid for. Tesla is not fulfilling any orders for anybody else outside of that, and it's still who knows how long before even just all the Cyberbeast owners get their light bars. Problem number two, it is super expensive. We actually got a look at what the actual part number is, how much that costs, and it comes in at a whopping $2,500, and that is just for the light bar. This thing will be attached by the dealer, and then you have to manually wire this thing up. And there's some legal reasons for that. It's not a Tesla thing, but they basically can't sell you a car with an off-road light bar like this for on-road use, so it's up to you to actually connect that with the wires. Now, the good thing is this one from Tlyard actually hooks up exactly the same, so it's super easy to install. But the best part is it is a fraction of the price. So like I said, I've had it on for a couple of months, and I wanted to use a couple solid months of use before I made a recommendation on this, because I was a little hesitant at first, but after this last couple of months, I am positive this is the right light bar for you to consider. Join me, let's take a deeper look. I'll show you how this thing works, how it installs, and why you might want to consider this light bar for your Cybertruck. So first, let's talk about what all is included in the kit that I went with for this setup. There's actually two light bars on here that I have added. First, of course, is the most obvious and going to be the most popular, and that is the light bar on top. Now, this thing does affix to the windshield just like the OEM one does. However, it has its own adhesive built onto it, and it is a ton of adhesive. So this was the part I was initially hesitant about, but I have since done 2 road trips with this thing at 80+ miles an hour with 0 issues. The biggest thing is making sure you give the adhesive enough time to cure, and that's about it. So as long as you give it the full 48 hours to cure, this thing isn't going anywhere. And that is still the same case as it is with the OEM one. You have to let the stuff cure. So this thing is on there, and it is not going anywhere. Did it add wind noise? Well, I've got this big rack on there, so I couldn't really tell you. I don't notice any difference, but again, I've got a bunch of stuff on my truck anyways. The cab in this truck is super quiet as it is, so nothing really that I notice with this light bar. Next is actually something I like about the design in this light bar, and it is the fact that it's actually 4 separate pods. The reason why that's nice is because the 2 pods on the outside are actually slightly angled just a bit to the side, so it actually expands that beam just a little bit farther out to the sides. This gives you even more visibility on the trails or in the dark, wherever you happen to be. The next thing that's really nice about this is, like the OEM one, it is completely integrated into the Cybertruck itself. So to power this thing on, it's all on the screen. You're just going to select the power feed on the top of the truck to turn this thing on and off. You don't have to worry about any step downs or converters. It's literally straight wired to the truck, just like the OEM one. So there's nothing to worry about with installation. So with that, this is actually an A+ for installation for the light bar on top. Literally, you're just gonna open up your one mounting point here for your roof rack on the passenger side. Now, if you have a more recent Cybertruck, they no longer come with the doors exposed. You just need to pull the whole plastic piece up. Your mounting points are still there, but from there, you'll be able to access your leads. These are all wrapped up in tape. You're just gonna have to undo these, connect the wires appropriately. As you can see in the video, these are the colors that you're going to need to connect to each other. Everything is color coded appropriately. That's all right here for you for easy access. Once that is done, just wrap it in electrical tape, make it watertight, However you prefer to tighten this thing up, I personally decided to go with some connectors to make this thing able to be removed if I ever need to replace the windshield or anything like that. But I also put some shrink wrap on top of it to make it absolutely sure that this thing is watertight. So once you have tucked the wires back into the truck, all you're going to do is take these suction cups and you're going to stick them onto the top of your car, basically putting some downward pressure on this thing onto the windshield. Now the directions do clearly state, leave this on for 48 hours and do not skip this step. This is the most important step of all of this, because if you don't do this right and you don't wait 48 hours, this thing won't be adhered properly and you do not want that issue. Now from there, everything is done. After 48 hours, you can just drive like normal. You can turn it on, you can turn it off, you can do all these fun things. Do note with a 48-volt system, at least what I've noticed with this truck is there is a little bit of a step down that happens naturally. So when you power this thing off, you have to give it a couple of seconds, just a couple of seconds for it to kind of reset. Then you can press power on again. So literally count to 2, then you can power it back on. I have noticed this with other accessories on the truck as well. It does have this kind of voltage drop that has to happen all the way before it'll allow you to send the 48 volts back through. So just a side note there about this, but this thing is amazing. As it sits right now today, this could change of course, but with code BTG, this thing is like $600, something like that. Less than $600. That is a fraction, 1/3 the price of the OEM option. And with a price like that, it's hard to pass on doing this. Plus, there's no way you can get this thing now. Now they have been selling out and I have paused releasing this video because of unfortunately selling out in between, but there should be stock right now as you're watching this for that light bar. Next is another light bar that you can also option to have. This one is about $300 or $400 after code BTG, and this actually goes underneath the frunk. This one is actually kind of a cool step, but believe it or not, it is a lot more complicated to install than the top one. That said, it is very easy and straightforward. It just has a lot more steps. Seems kind of weird. Something so much smaller would be so much more complicated, but that's just how it is. This light bar is so cool. It basically connects your bottom running lights all the way across. So now you have the CMOS blade underneath the frunk that complements that light bar on top of the frunk. So this light, you're actually going to be replacing the entire middle piece here. As it comes from the factory, this is just one plastic piece and it houses the button to open and close the frunk. Now we're going to take basically the frunk switch. That button is going to be removed from the plastic piece and installed on the new plastic piece that has the light built into it. Then you're just going to put this back in place. Now the wiring is where things get to be an extra step, and you're basically going to run this to the cab of the vehicle and you're going to plug it into the internal system on the truck. This will allow this light to automatically come on and turn off as necessary. So there's nothing to worry about. You can have it on, have it off. It's all taken care of automatically with the daytime running lights, which is really cool. This thing looks sick, and it actually gives you just a little bit more light on the road right in front of you, kind of like how fog lights work. But instead of adding visibility to the sides, it's adding visibility just right in front of you, which is pretty cool. So this thing is not all that expensive, $300-400, something like that after code BTG, and I really like it. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I almost didn't install it, but now that I have it on, I actually am really digging the look. It just gives it just a little bit something extra. It's very subtle, but when it's sitting parked next to other Cybertrucks, it's very noticeable, and it's like, that looks pretty cool. So those are the new accessories from Tlyard for the Cybertruck. This light bar is an absolute no-brainer. I would not think twice about it. The price is right, and you can actually get it today. Installation could not be easier, and I'd highly recommend you consider putting in the extra time to do the install on the lower light bar as well. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Is this what you were hoping for? What do you think about this? I personally love this thing, and I'd love to hear your feedback on it as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I can't wait to catch you on the next one.